Manchester United have completely got their winning run to an end now that the draw happened with West Ham. Of course, when you watch the highlights, you begin to realize they shouldn't have even won with the way that things went, but that's how it is. Now, lot of things that comes in. We wanted to make this video in Sunday, but in the weekend things were a little occupied. One of my cousins are getting married, so there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes, and that's why Susmit will be joining us from the upcoming episode. So stay tuned for that. When I watched the entire highlights, I'm not watching any game end to end. Got more important things to do in life rather than get into that anger mode looking at Manchester United perform the way they are. And this is precisely the reason why a manager with just the United DNA will eventually not be able to serve the the whole club. If you look at the way that the last four games also happened, it's the Manchester City game that they played well. Now that was possible because obviously a new change in of guard and then the tactical tweak in terms of just the formation change. That's it. Nothing more unique. Individual skill level breakthrough that was done. Of course, the corner routines and everything is something that Michael Carrick and his team are working with the players, but eventually in the long run, you have to come up with a manager that will be able to establish their authority. Let's go back to the Manchester United era that completely redefined. Of course, in the Tottenham game, we also saw the tributes being poured to the 1958 the accident that happened. That was the anniversary. Again, condolences to all the family members and everyone who's lost their life. But from that time onwards, the big breakthroughs that happened. Back then, Sir Matt Busby had Sir Brian Robson in his team, and then the academy produced some world-class talents that made United who they are. But then they had a manager who understood that and respected that. And that was in the 1950s and 60s. Then you look at the 1980s and 90s, or even the first part of the 2000s also, when Sir Alex became the manager. Again, he was also someone who came from Aberdeen, from Scotland. And then he established his authority in the club. Now we need yet another such form of a manager who will not just be able to stamp his authority in the club, but also ensure that he is taking the help of the academy, getting the right players, and slowly, step by step, taking the club to a newer height. And this is what I personally feel needs to be implemented. They got Eric Ten Hag, he was not good. They got Ruben Amorim, he was not good. You have to understand that United over the years, they played traditionally in a 4-4-2 formation, which obviously latest updates and upgrades that happened in terms of the tactical tweaks in the Premier League. Most of the teams they're playing with a 4-2-3-1 formation, which can drop down to six defenders whenever it's required. The teams that defend very, very heavy, I'm talking about the mid or the lower level relegation threatening teams. But then when you look at someone like a Manchester City or a Liverpool, the front three teams up with the top striker, and suddenly there is a 4-2-4 formation that comes in. So you've got to look at how you are able to establish that tactical masterclass every step in the way. And this is where I felt Roberto De Zerbi, when he was there in Brighton, he did a great job. Now he's doing a great job in Marseille. You look at Unai Emery. He was not the right person for Arsenal, but look at what he's doing with Aston Villa right now. Again, when these managers they come, we saw what happened with the Graham a-hole Potter. That's Angry Rant Man, tribute to him. May his soul rest in peace. What happened when he came to Chelsea? He was not able to do it. What happened when Ruben Amorim or Eric Ten Hag came to Manchester United, they were not able to do anything. But then at the same time, you also get to see what Pep Guardiola did in Manchester City. Now, Pep Guardiola is a once in a generation manager and coach. So I am not so sure whether Carrick should continue beyond the season. Obviously, if he gets Champions League qualification, why not? I mean, when you look at the way the last 5 games and they've won 13 points out of potential 15, which is in itself insane. They've already stamped their authority in the top four. That really goes to show the amazing work that Carrick has done. But in the long run, as a Manchester United fan, would I? Obviously, it's nostalgic and it feels amazing. Michael Carrick knows the whole club in and out. It's going to be a good experience to have him as a manager, just like how it was when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the manager a couple of years back. So, keeping all these foundations in mind, I think this is where we are at in terms of the growth that Manchester United are going to experience. Obviously, the next game is 2 weeks later against Everton. By that time, we're expecting to have Matthias Jalit back, Mason Mount back. So all the injuries and everything hopefully will be taken care of. And we have to see where United goes from this moment on. But so far, I think there was one Manchester United fan whose names are just going out of the blue. Even in the press conference, he was asked, he didn't cut his hair until unless United win 5 back-to-back games. I have no idea who he is, honestly. But it just goes to show the power of not just Manchester United as a club, but as fans as well. So maybe at some point of time when Susmit comes back and we're going to ask him about this as well, we will get to see what unfolds. And from there, we will see how Manchester United ends this particular season. They've got nothing really to play for out from the Carabao Cup, out from the FA Cup, no European football for this season. What they do have, and we know for sure, is they can finish as high as possible in the Premier League, hopefully getting the Champions League qualification. So that's it from this episode. We will see you in the next one where we've got something even more interesting to discuss. And of course, we are also expecting that Shushmit is going to be back very, very soon. See you in the next one.